بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا ابن رسول الله، روحي وأرواح العالمين لك الفداء. سيدي يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة، يا غريب يا مظلوم يا عطشان كربلاء. سيدي يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما. O death, the servant of Imam Hussein, the poet of Imam Hussein Nuri Sardar says, O death, prolong my death and prolong my fate, and for my father's return, please let me wait. Tonight is the night allocated to the little daughter of Imam Hussein, Fatima al-Alil. Imam Hussein left behind in Medina a little daughter whose name was Fatima. She was ill, she was not able to go to Karbala with her father, so she speaks with fate and death. O death. Now this is a little girl speaking to her father. She knows she will not be able to see the father once again. O death, prolong my death and prolong my fate, and for my father's return, please let me wait. I am young, but when I become old, I'll recall things for which I have wept. Like when I'd wake up to your smile, O Father. Little Fatima used to sleep in the lap of her father, Imam Hussein. But when she used to wake up, she used to open her eyes. She used to see the father smiling in her face. Like when I'd wake up to your smile, and when upon your chest I slept, O Father. Even if I age Even if age brings me blindness, there are things I'll still see as clear, like the last gaze in your eyes, a sight till death I'll hold dear. Hussein, ya Hussein, Hussein, ya. Raise your hands. These are nights of Ashura. The Imam in Karbala is wanting to see who is supporting him in these days. Raise your hands and do bay'ah with Imam Hussein. Hussein, ya Hussein, Hussein. One more time, let's call our lover. Hussein, ya Hussein. بأبي أنت وأمي يا أبا عبد الله. وعليكم السلام. For the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be upon the servants of deen, the servants of religion who have dedicated their entire lives in supporting and protecting the true belief and aqeedah of Islam, protecting the values of Ashura, protecting the signs and symbols of Imam Hussein, the sha'air of Imam Hussein, all the maraja', all the ulama who are working honorably and humbly, like Ayatollah al-Uzma, al-Marji' al-Dini, al-Sayyid Sadiq al-Husayni al-Shirazi, and all the other maraja', and all servants of Imam Hussein, all visitors of Imam Hussein. On this very night, we send them a loud salawat. For the protection of the brothers and sisters in the majlis, our children, our youngsters, our parents, our grandparents, the ushaq of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, we send a second louder salawat. For our master Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and our awaited Imam, the Imam of our time, Aba Salih al-Mahdi, we send a third louder salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in chapter 23, verse 115, Surah Al-Mu'minun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, أفحسبتم أنما خلقناكم عبثا وأنكم إلينا لا ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم عطروا مجالسكم بذكر محمد وآل محمد. In this verse, in this chapter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the situation, the position between Ashabul Jannah wa Ashabul Nar, and also those who think that they have been brought to this world for a no specific reason, and that there is no life after this life on earth. In the first night, we spoke about understanding Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Last night we spoke about what our objective was towards Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. Tonight we will want to find out how to implement our method in implementing these objectives in our lives. If you go and participate in a science lab at university, your lecturer, your teacher says to you, I want you to go and investigate about, for example, a specific metal. I want you to write a paper. Any academic student will know that he has to write a report. This report will have an introduction. It will have the main body where he explains his investigation, and then he will also have a part where he writes down how he came to find and his conclusions. So we spoke about Imam Hussein. Why Imam Hussein on the first night? This was the introduction to our majalis. Last night, we spoke about our aim and objective. And tonight, inshallah, we will want to find out how, in which method, in our daily lives, we can implement and go through life with the teachings of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and with the tools and apparatus that we have available to us, and the sources. For a student to go and investigate, surely he will be in need of some requirements. He will need a supervisor, he will need a teacher, he will need a lecturer. He will also need sources, books, or a library, or a place that he can go to and investigate what the teacher, the lecturer has asked him to investigate. We in the madrasa of Ahlulbayt, we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us and brought us to this world. He also brought for us the prophets and the messengers. That was not enough. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent with these prophets and these messengers who were our teachers and our lecturers. He sent with them the sources. Our universities and our colleges and our schools, they provide for us teachers and doctors and engineers who come and educate us and teach us the lessons. They also will provide for us the computers, the internet, the library, where all the sources that we need are available, so in order we can complete our investigation. Hence, completing our studies and reaching the level we want, which is obtaining the certificate at the end of the year. You will be graduated and you can move on to the next level. This is a law set by human beings like me and you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who created us, mankind, and He created for us in order to live in this world all the things we see around us, from animals, from plants, from trees, from mountains, from skies, from earth, the oceans, the animals in the deep oceans, the animals that fly in the sky, the animals that crawl on the ground, the things that you can see and the things that you cannot see, the things that you can feel and the things that you cannot feel. Every single atom in this creation, and as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for the sake of one organism. And he is the best of Allah's organisms and creations on the face of this planet, who is the mankind. the human being. When you go and buy a washing machine, you go to the market, you go to the mall, you go on the internet, you want to order a new washing machine. This washing machine, no doubt, has been created by an engineer, by a manufacturer, by a company. They send with this washing machine, with this device, a small catalog explaining to you from A to Z or to Z how to run and use this washing machine in the best of manners. This is the basic requirements of humans living on the face of this earth. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that created me, He created me in the womb of my mother. I came to this world. I didn't know how to live. I was tiny, I was a baby. I saw my mother and my father as the creators. I didn't know. I was a baby, I was an infant. You know, a baby, when he comes to this world, the first person he sees in this world is the mother. Naturally, when a mother gives birth, the midwife takes the baby, delivers the baby, and quickly gives the baby to the mother. So the baby sees the mother first. Because that first look, that first physical look, is so important that this little infant grew in the womb of the mother for 9 months, became used to hearing the mother. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala naturally, when the baby comes out to this world, is looking for the mother. This baby, this infant, comes with his hands closed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you come to this world with your hands closed because you love this world so much that you don't want to give anything away. Have you seen any infant, especially the fathers and the mothers? Have you seen a baby being born, coming to this world with its hands open? No. The baby always comes to this world with the hands closed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, see, look, you as a human being, you come to this world, your hands are closed. And you go out of this world and your hands are open. Allah wants to say to us, the day you came into this world, you didn't know anything, you didn't have anything. Your hands were empty, but you were looking for something, you wanted to grab something. But the day you leave this world, you leave the world with nothing. Your hands are empty, open. So Allah brought us to this world not knowing anything. As it is stated in the Holy Quran. لا تعلمون شيئا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the prophets and sent the message, the Quran, with them. Taking the Quran, as we said in the first night, taking the Quran without the Prophet, without Ahlulbayt, you will not be able to understand the Quran. As there are other schools of thought who follow their leader, Umar ibn al-Khattab, at the time of the Holy Prophet. The Prophet said, bring me a pen and paper, let me write what you are going to be free from entering hell if you follow it. It is well known in the sources of both parties, the Shia and the Sunnah, the so-called Sunnah. Umar ibn al-Khattab said, Hasbuna kitab Allah, inna al-rajula la yahjur. We do not need. This person, pain has overcome him. He doesn't know, he doesn't understand what he's saying. Wal-'iyadhu billah. If the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who was sent by Allah, the creator, the engineer, sent us a teacher, the teacher wants to teach us. He wants to tell us, if you follow this catalog until the day of judgment, you will never go astray. You will always walk on the right path. But there must be individuals that come and stop the work of prophets. This is nature of life. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Okay, I have the prophets. and I have the Quran. Now I want to come and implement Allah's ahkam. I want to be able to live in this life prosperously. Islam promises me, mankind, human being, oh young man, oh young lady, follow Islam, you will live prosperously. I want to know how. Oh Islam, oh Quran, I am a young man living in 2013. I want to know how I can live prosperously, how I can learn from Imam Hussein. Okay. Imam Hussein sacrificed his life for me. How can I come and physically implement the objective of Imam Hussein alayhi salam? I want to conclude my research and my report. I want to come out with a conclusion. الإمام المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وسهل مخرجه صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Who we believe is the vice regent, is the Khalifa representing the messenger and the teacher Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to us, the Imam of our time. And we the Shia believe that there won't be a second from the life of this earth without an Imam. There must be a representative of Allah, regardless if it was a prophet or a messenger or an Imam. A representative of Allah must always live and be present on the face of this earth, regardless of we can see him or not. He is present. Because if he was not present on this earth, the earth and its rotation and the way humans and the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala live on this earth would have been disturbed. Imam and his presence is the entity that allows this earth and this universe and human beings to be able to live and continue their life safely. Without an Imam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Ahlulbayt say, لَسَاخَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِأَهْلِهَا. Now I want to know, Imam al-Mahdi, the Imam of my time, he in a letter to one of the ulama representatives, Al-Nawab al-Khassin, the last naib, private naib of Imam al-Mahdi, Imam Mahdi told him, after you there will not be a naib after you. But I want you to tell the Shia, I want you to tell the Muslims, that for you to be able to continue your way on the Sirat al-Mustaqim, which we also said the Sirat al-Mustaqim is the path of Ali and Al-Ali. Sirat al-Ladhina an'amta alayhim, an-ni'mah, ni'matul wilayah, ni'matu amir al-mu'mineen. If you want to continue on this path, I will leave with you ulama and maraji and ulama and representatives. Now you have to go back, because I, the Imam, I have to go into occultation, into ghaibah al-kubra. You will not be able to meet me directly. So where do I go, I as a young man and I as a young lady? Where will I learn piety? Where will I learn how to become a good boy and a good girl? My parents tell me respect your parents. I have to become a good Muslim in home and outside home. But where do I go to learn these kind of things? Islam and Sharia tells you, you have the ulama, the humble ulama. Wa alaikum as-salam. You have the humble ulama, the humble maraji'. Nowadays, we have many ulama, we have many respected maraja. We have some who out of their education and out of their research are defending the true Islam. But unfortunately, we also have individuals who call themselves ulama and maraji', but they are not equipped to be in that position. And their fatwas and their lessons and their teachings for me, young man and young lady in the West, does not make sense. So I have to go back to the ulama and maraja. I have to go back to the teachers. Because they are, these ulama and these maraja and these teachers, who we have to be learning from them, who they come and explain to us the Holy Quran when the Imam is not here, who they explain to us the ahadiths of Ahlulbayt. They, maraji and ulama, like the no other, Ayatollah al-Uzma al-Sayyid al-Sadiq al-Husayni al-Shirazi, Dama ظله علينا, like Ayatollah al-Uzma al-Sayyid al-Sistani, like al-Shaykh Wahid al-Khurasani Dama ظله, like the ulama in Najaf, the ulama in Qom. The true ulama, those who guide you towards Ahlul Bayt, those who make you hold on strong to Imam Hussein. Why? Because they want you to learn. They want you to take knowledge from the correct sources. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to you, O mankind, do you really believe I, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, created you and I brought you to this world for no reason? This doesn't make sense. Did you think that we had created you in vain? Abatha, just like that? And that you will not be returned to us? أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تَرْجَعُونَ? No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not do things without any reason. When the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you as a Muslim, you take your knowledge from your Imam, and the Imam of your time says, go back to the honorable maraji' who have certain aspects and certain criteria. You can't just go and choose, pick and choose. Whoever you want, you say, this is my teacher, this is my muallim, this is my alim. I take my religion, my deen from him. No. The same creator, the same engineer that created you, gave you a hadith and gave you riwayat and gave you a book you have to go by. And he says, Imam, the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you want to choose a alim, a marji' for yourself? In order that you implement the values and objectives of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in this day and age? You as a young man and you as a young lady, you want to be successful in life? Go back to the alim. Which alim? The alim that fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The alim who is pious. The marji' who comes and knows more than 15 different kinds of knowledge in order for you and me to come and read. For example, when you come to do wudu, you have to do wudu in a specific way. You think this statement by a marji' has taken him 10 minutes? This alim and this marji' has to spend years of his life until he comes to a final conclusion. Why, when I want to pray, I have to take water, for example, in my hand and place it on my elbow and wipe downwards? Why cannot wipe upwards? People think I can just go follow any marji' who knows something about Islam, and we have many today. Don't take that as a way of disrespecting representatives of Allah and Ahlul Bayt. In Iraq, every day we get someone who wears a turban, who makes his beard long, and says, I am Ayatollah al-Uzma, and all the other maraji' are not even reaching my level. You as a young lady, you as a young man, you know, if you don't have a marji', but you pray, you fast, but you don't believe in a marji', you don't follow a marji'. You know, if you don't have a marji', Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept your salah and your prayers and your fasting. Because this is one of the pillars of Islam that the Imam of your time said, if you really want to follow me, you have to go back to the main source. Those who carry the knowledge of Ahlulbayt, those who represent Al-Imam Al-Mahdi honestly. الثانية بأعلى أصواتكم. الثالثة على محبة الحسن والحسين بأعلى أصواتكم. Al-Mawla Abi Abdullah al-Hussein has a very good statement describing the lives of some who we wish and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are not part of them. Al-Imam al-Hussein, one of his statements on his way to Karbala said, "An-nas abidud dunya." There will be people who are going to be slaves of this dunya. General. He made it open. الناس عبيد الدنيا والدين لعق على ألسنتهم. What does this mean? This is very important for you and me, oh brother, oh sister. Now I am at a stage where I have to make a final decision. My parents have suffered years to get me to reach to this level. From now onwards, it is my responsibility. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get me to stand on the day of judgment and say, "Oh servant of Allah, oh Abdullah, oh Ali, why did you follow such and such a marja? Why did you pray in this way? Why did you believe this belief?" Why? You will have to make your own decisions. Don't say because my father or my mother, they prayed this way, I prayed the same way. Do not say and do not believe that because your father or your mother said I have to do things this way, that's why I done it for the rest of my life. Because we have examples of people who did things aqaid-wise, belief-wise, the way their parents used to do it, and when they were 50 or 60, they came next to the alim, or they met with a marja, and they explained to them, "Oh Sayyid, oh Shaykh, I have been practicing, I have been under this belief, because my parents, my father, he explained to me how to do things, how to believe in this." And the alim said, "No, you have been doing it wrong." Now imagine living 50, 60 years praying in a specific way, showering in a specific way, and then when you're 50 or 60 coming to understand that you've done it the opposite way. Wouldn't that be bad? People are slaves of this world, and their religion, their deen, he says, "I am a Muslim." He doesn't need to say. His appearance says he's a Muslim. There were people who said we were Muslim at the time of the Holy Prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Don't say amanna, qulu aslamna." Because there is a difference between Iman and Islam. Anyone can say, "I am a Muslim." But for you to become a mu'min, for you to practice the objectives of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the message of Imam Hussein, the values of Imam Hussein, you have to believe it in your heart. You have to be honest with yourself. Allah doesn't want anything from you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to be honest with Him. When you wear hijab, Allah wants you to be honest with yourself and with Him. Don't wear hijab because your mother has said you have to wear hijab only. Sit down and ask your mother and ask your father, why does Islam say a female needs to wear hijab? Understand it, because there were individuals who wore hijab, who were pressurized by their parents, but were not explained why they should wear hijab, and later on in their life they put hijab aside. Hijab is wajib. Like prayer and fasting is wajib. But everything needs to be explained. And their religion is just as saliva on their tongues. Everyone has saliva. Naturally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets you to have saliva on your tongue. How easy is it for you to swallow saliva? Some people's religion is just like that. He says, I am Muslim, I do that, I do this, but when he goes round the corner, he puts it down as he puts the saliva down. This is Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein doesn't want these kind of individuals. When you honestly wear black for Imam Hussein, make sure you honestly have a relationship with Imam Hussein. They revolve around religion, these individuals. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are not part of them. الناس عبيد الدنيا والدين لعق على ألسنتهم يحوطونه ما دارت أو ما درت معايشهم. As soon as he sees that his interests and his needs and his well-being will be affected as a result of practicing some things which he is not certain about, he will put religion aside. والدين لعق على ألسنتهم يحوطونه ما درت معايشهم فإذا محصوا بالبلاء قل الديانون. But when they face difficulties, when they face tests, trials, very few people prove that they can stand steadfast alongside Islam and Ahlulbayt. I will give you one example and inshallah move on. Bal'am ibn Ba'ura. His story is mentioned in the Holy Quran. He was the special advisor to Prophet of Allah, Prophet Musa, ala nabiyina wa alihi wa alayhi salam. Do you know what that means? He was Ayatullah al-Uzma, al-Marji' al-A'la, at the time of Prophet Musa. Bal'am ibn Ba'ura, Ayatullah. He had one code of Ismillah al-A'zam. One code, one letter. Do you know what that means? That means that when he raised his hand to pray for a specific hajj, for a specific need, for himself or for one of the followers of Prophet Musa, Allah would have granted that request there and there. You know, when an imam or a prophet raises their hand in dua, Allah grants it straight away. Bal'am used to be like that. A alim, a muttaqi, a wara', who was the right hand of Prophet Musa. Now this is a lesson for you, brother and sister, that no matter how your appearance is appealing, do not worry about the appearance if you do not have the jewel and the sense in the heart and in the intellect. If you mentally do not recognize the values of Islam and the values of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, know for sure, as soon as you are hit with a wind, you will be gone astray. As soon as someone comes and says a couple of words to you, why are you doing that? This is not right. Why are you practicing these things they call sha'air of Imam Hussein? You are living in the time of freedom. Why are you beating your chest? For what? Why are you crying for someone who has passed away and was killed 1,400 years ago? We celebrate Jesus in Christmas. We are going to have parties. We go out. We go and enjoy ourselves. And you, a Muslim living in Canada, this is what they will tell you. Living in Canada, you sit down in December, in January, in the New Year, after the New Year, you sit down and cry for your leader who was killed. Aren't you a bit old and ancient? If someone who doesn't know how to reply back and has not been educated properly under the member of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and at home, they will be leaving as soon as they are tested. That's why member of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein is so important. Bal'am ibn Ba'ura, Fir'aun was told by his advisors, if you want to be victorious over Musa, go through Bal'am ibn Ba'ura. Because Bal'am ibn Ba'ura, he is the one that gives the orders and he is the right hand of Prophet Musa. If you want to destroy the army, of Musa, influence Bal'am ibn Ba'ura, the Ayatollah al-Uzma, the alim, the marja. So he sent his advisors with all the jewels and all the wealth and the gold to come and influence Bal'am ibn Ba'ura. الثانية بأعلى أصواتكم. لسلامتكم ولسلامة العلماء. الثالثة بأعلى أصواتكم. Cutting the long story short, they came once trying to influence Bal'am, they couldn't. Second time, they couldn't. Third time, the advisors said, we won't go this time. This time we will send some maids, make them wear some makeup and dress in a specific way, as some see it as a modern way, and they send them to Bal'am. Bal'am ibn Ba'ura, you know, you're a human. You are not ma'soom. Even if it means you've got one code, one letter of Ismillah al-Azam. You are always face to face with shaitan. You are always able to become influenced by shaitan. So they came, they were able to influence Bal'am ibn Ba'ura. From being Ayatollah al-Uzma, he became the servant of this dunya, the slave of this dunya. This is where Imam Hussein says, الناس عبيد الدنيا والدين لعق على ألسنتهم. That's why we have to recognize Imam Hussein, the objectives of Imam Hussein, and take the lessons from the servants of Imam Hussein in our time, who are the ulama and the maraja. Through listening to the ulama, through having a marja who you can follow and listen to and teaches you, every time something dramatic happens, you will be able to live life successfully today and tomorrow. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, as I started the majlis, had a young girl in Medina called Fatima. Now this is why sometimes when you are tested, you have to leave your loved ones. You have to leave your belongings and move on. Why? For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to sacrifice your time. You have to leave what you enjoy and go and educate yourself. You have to have some sleepless nights. Leave your enjoyments and follow Islam. Imam Hussein has to leave behind Fatima al-Alila because she is unwell. If she goes with her father, she will pass away. So he left her with al-Baneen. Now Fatima is speaking to her father. Aba ya Hussein, take me with you. Why are you leaving me behind? A little girl. Those who have little girls, the fathers, the mothers, they know how difficult it is when they leave behind their daughters and their sons. Aba ya Hussein, take me with you, do not leave me behind. Imam Hussein got her, sat her in his lap. He explained to her, Fatima, I will go, I have to go, but inshallah I will send your brother Ali Al-Akbar or your uncle Al-Abbas or one of your brothers or one of your family members to come and collect you. Fatima al-Alila, something was telling her, this is the last time you are going to see your father. So she starts speaking to her father, saying, Father, there are few things I know and fewer things I understand, but I told you, oh Father, to be careful. Why? I think the place you are going to go to, the place which is called Karbala, I think death calls you in that land, oh Father. When you kissed me on my forehead, oh Father, when you wiped your hand, and you wiped with your hand the tears on my eyes, that meant that I'll spend each day till my death all alone, hoping that you would reappear. And this is what happened. Imam Hussein took his family, Ali Al-Akbar, Al-Qasim, Abdullah Al-Radi'. She said, oh Father, okay, if you have to take everyone, leave Abdullah Al-Radi', leave him next to me, I will look after him. No, Fatima, you have to stay here. Abdullah has got a role to play in Karbala. Fatima al-Alila, ever since Imam Hussein leaving Medina, she used to come out of the house every day, stand on the main road, waiting for a letter, waiting for someone to bring her news of her father Hussein. But days went past and no one came until the day Bishr ibn Hadlam came into the city of Medina and started announcing the death of her father Hussein. She was calling her father every day, raising her hands towards Karbala, saying, Hussein, Ya Hussein, Hussein, Ya, oh Hussein, Hussein. اللهم بالحسين الوجيه وجده وأبيه وأمه وأخيه والتسعة المعصومين من ذريته وبنيه عجل في فرج مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان واجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه. Oh Allah, we ask you to protect the defenders of deen, those who are standing steadfast against the attacks of the munafiqeen from within the tashayyu' and outside Islam, the maraji', the ulama, especially Ayatollah al-Uzma, Muhyi al-Sha'air al-Husayniyya, al-Sayyid al-Sadiq al-Husayni al-Shirazi, and all the maraji' who defend Sha'air of Imam Hussein, ببركة الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.